It's the Break Room podcast time. Hello, Trey.
Hello, Derek.
I love that that's like our staple now. It's Trey, Derek. So, what's going on?
Nothing. I got off work early, or I shouldn't say early, but I had a decent time today.
Yeah, how you feel about that?
Oh, today was fucking disgusting. So, for those who live in the Midwest, you would know that today was kind of a mushy, crappy, rainy, wet day.
Snow cone day.
I wouldn't even call it that. It was just, well, the Quad Cities were calling it for like a winter weather advisory, but I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning and I went, where? It's just rain.
Oh, it rained there?
Oh, it was just raining all day, everywhere.
Oh, it snowed all day here.
I would have rather had that.
No, you wouldn't. No, fuck you wouldn't.
Yes, I would, dude. I was sloshing through mud and gravel.
Okay, I see what you mean. For like work-wise, I would get it.
Yeah, I can handle snow. My
snow
gloves
over
were
the
like
rain.
soaking wet, and they were toast by the end of the day. I was like, oh, throwing these away.
Ugh. Wait, like what kind of are they? Like nylon or are they like
They're
leather?
Yeah, well, you can get nylon, but they give nylon gloves. But I like the they look like biker gloves. They're leather. They're just like basic white leather gloves.
Oh, so like your standard fucking gardening glove. I get you.
Yeah, and after about 2 or 3 stops, they were toast. They were soaking wet. If I were to press my thumb hard enough against the surface, water would come out of the glove.
Did you ever get an influx of garbage from Thanksgiving, or was it just kind of a little bit more than usual?
Well, that's So because I had last Thursday off, I had to work Friday, Saturday, and yeah, there was a little bit of stuff there. But even now, like yesterday when I dumped a dumpster, there was just a whole ass deer carcass in it. That was it.
That sounds like the Midwest.
Well, it was a commercial fisherman's place. How ironic is that, though? I mean, I'd expect to be dumping bags of old like fish bones or something, but no, it was just a whole ass deer carcass. Like,
yeah, I went and
like they field dressed it, I guess, and then yeah, they threw it in there.
yeah, that kind of sucks. Why would you field dress it and throw it away? What the fuck?
Well, like I think they had all the meat and stuff that they wanted from it, but the parts they didn't use, yeah, it was in that dumpster.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant like they just gutted it and threw it away.
Yeah. Also, smooth trans. Oh, I didn't mean to hit the mic. Smooth transition. I sent you the picture of the banner.
Oh, I see that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, smooth transition. So, obviously, no one can see it because we don't have cameras yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we do. Just, I'll explain why.
You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, me and Trey decided that we were going to invest some money into a new computer. Obviously, he hasn't done it yet because what we had agreed on is that if we sold our computer,
I gotta sell mine first,
original
yeah.
one, we would buy a new one, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got mine sold, and so it was Black Friday, and the computer was already $100 off, but then there was an extra 20. So I made sure my computer was bought, and I had the money. And so I went to the bank, talked to him, and said, hey, this is going to go on my card or whatnot. They said, okay, no problem. And I bought it. And on the shipping, it says 3 to 6 days. So I was like, all right, perfect. It'll be here it would be tomorrow.
Yeah.
At the latest.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I get an email with my receipt and everything. And the shipping says, ship date, December 18th.
Oh.
Yeah, so it'll be here by Christmas Eve at the latest.
Yikes.
So-
What?
Yeah, so
Did it
until
say
then,
why? I mean, is there like an influx of orders or what?
well, I'm gonna guess that they build them in house and they ship them.
Well, yeah, but I'm surprised that they didn't have them already built and then just pack them and then ship them.
Well, it's because on that website that we were gonna buy them from and I bought from, you can choose different options. So I'm gonna guess that they have to wait for your order to be sent in and then they build it then. Is
Yeah.
what I'm guessing. So yeah, until at the latest Christmas Eve, I'm recording on my old laptop, and I am not even in my original space of recording. I'm sitting like 10 feet away, and I'm sitting in a fucking $20 Walmart chair, and it's pretty jank.
Oh yeah.
So
I know. Okay, I know where you're sitting now. Yeah.
yeah. So if the episode sounds kind of different because I'm recording on a different computer, I'm sorry. If it doesn't and it sounds normal, then just ignore everything I just said.
So it's gonna be the latter because you still sound fine.
Oh, okay, cool. So just ignore everything I just said. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I was kind of upset because if I would have known it was going to take until Christmas Eve, I would have just told the person buying it, hey, could you wait until my other one gets here? And he would have said no problem. But I was so eager on this 3 to 6 day shipping. I was like, yeah, you can come take it right now, like today. And he was like, yeah, I'll come take it. And then I got the email. So, yeah, now I'm in this predicament.
So for me, I'm not gonna the same thing. If the same thing happens to me, I won't have mine until like the new year.
Well, yeah, just whenever you order yours, just wait about 3 weeks. Just think 3 weeks in advance. Like that's when it's gonna be there.
And what sucks about that is everyone who is interested, they're like, yeah, give me a few weeks so I can divide my checks up and then give the money to you.
Oh, you do have people interested then?
2.
I mean, that's good. I only had 1. So,
Yeah, but
I mean,
you got rid of it so fucking fast. I have people who are like, I don't know how to word this. I guess they're like more responsible than your average Joe who's like, let me wait so I could build some money up before, so I have Christmas money and then money for the computer. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
well, more or less, I got lucky because when I posted it, the guy who bought it wanted a computer and they were gonna buy one, from a store.
Yeah.
But then they saw my post and they're like, well, fuck it, I'll just buy it from someone I know rather than a store or a website.
Right.
And another thing is that my computer is not as good as yours, so I had mine lower in price.
Yeah, I've been lowering it. I've been even lowering it like $10 a day because no matter how many times I lower it or share it or anything, I get no bites.
I know, it's kind of wild. Especially because you're in such a bigger town, I would think at least someone would be like, oh yeah, I can afford that.
Yeah, they just don't care, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
They're
that's
just
the problem with a lot of people. They just don't care. So, with that being said, let's get into the actual episode here. So, to start it off, I wanted to ask you a question. But before I ask you the question, I have to tell you a small story. So,
Okay.
I was in the car today with my mother and her sister, right?
Yeah.
And I was playing a bunch of old country music because that's what I like. Is like, I don't. If I'm gonna listen to country, it's gonna be before
like Johnny Cash or what?
Well, like I was playing Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash,
Oh, hell
Hank Williams Jr., shit like that.
Yeah.
So no one said a damn thing about the music the whole time we were in the car, right?
Okay.
Then, out of nowhere, a Hank Williams Jr. song comes on, and they both at the same time go, Hank! Like that. And it was just amazing to me how all these old country singers got nothing from these women, and then that one particular man, brought like such a memory into their head that they had to say it like that. So my question to you, because it made me ponder for a little bit.
Yeah.
For our generation, who besides Taylor Swift, because I don't count her because she's like, like the Michael Jackson of our generation. Who do you think in like 25 years from now someone will hear them on the radio and go, "Oh, that person." Aw. Who do you think it would be?
Well, I'm definitely not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be any rappers because that just doesn't happen. I mean, at least for me, it hasn't, and I don't think it would happen. But so yeah, like you said about Taylor Swift, I wouldn't count them because everyone knows Taylor Swift's voice.
Well, I mean, everyone in my mom's generation knows who Hank Williams Jr. is and his voice and his music, and I think that's why they had that reaction, is because he was such a popular icon in his genre at the time, like when they were our age. Right?
Yeah. Uh,
So I just want to know who you think that would be for us in the next like 25, 30 years.
maybe like Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs.
I would definitely agree with you with those two. I would more or less have a tie answer between Kenny Chesney,
Okay, yeah.
and you didn't say a rapper, but I think a
Post
rapper would
Malone
be a
maybe
correct
too.
answer. I was either gonna say Post Malone or Drake. In 25,
Oh
30
yeah.
years, people are
Oh
gonna hear
yeah.
Drake go, Drake! Oh my god, you remember when he was such a big
If he's
artist?
still performing in 25 years, he's gonna be the next Cher, dude.
In 25 years, that dude will be like in his mid 50s, I'm pretty
That's what I'm
sure.
saying. He's gonna become the next Cher if he just keeps going and going and going.
Could you imagine a basically you can order off the elderly menu at the fucking Denny's and you're just up there rapping? That'd be kind of wild.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty wild. But yeah, it was just something really weird that I noticed when we were in the car that they did that, and I kind of looked at them both because I was in the passenger seat, and I was like, oh, wow, he really had that much of an effect on you people that long ago that you're having that reaction. Because we'll listen to tons of music from back in the day, you know, like the Rolling Stones, shit like that, you know, classic stuff, and I never get a reaction out of anything I play. And then he came on, and that's when they were like, oh, hey. It was just a weird thing. Because I think, like, the generation right before us, like, Gen X, they would look at something like, I wouldn't say Green Day, but like Nirvana, and like 10 years from now they go, oh, Nirvana, oh my, they
kind
were
of
so
already do that.
good. Yeah, I guess you're kind
We've
of
had
right.
this discussion about the whole they wear the Nirvana shirt, but they'll listen to a song and be like, Pink Floyd.
Oh, God. I was also cracking myself up. If you haven't seen this video, please go watch it. But I was driving the car home today,
Yeah.
and Roxanne came on.
Rocks.
And yeah, I was the whole time I was just thinking of the video where it's rocks.
Yeah, he just cuts off and plays the rest of the song, and that's all it says. Yeah.
Oh, I was cracking myself up. If you haven't seen that video,
Roxanne,
please
only
please go watch it.
Roxanne, but it's only rocks.
But it's only rocks. What a
Speaking of
great
Hank
video.
Williams, I heard an interesting topic on the radio today. They were talking about how AI can now make like new songs for Cher as well as Hank Williams.
Well, which Hank Williams? There's three of them.
Uh, why? Why is there three of them?
Well, there's the grandfather who is the original. And
Okay,
then there's
I
Hank
think that's who
Williams
they're talking
Jr.
about.
And then there's Hank Williams the third. So are they talking
It's
about
either-
the original one?
It's either senior or junior.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna guess it has to be senior because he only made music for 4 years and died.
Yeah, they were talking about him. They were talking about did I already say it? The AI can do the voices for Cher and Hank Williams, and then there was another topic where they even played the AI did a version of Barbie World, but it's Johnny Cash singing it.
Oh, yikes!
It messed with my head, dude, because it sounded so like real.
Well, that shit's all over TikTok. There's like, I don't watch TikTok obviously, but you know, Emily does, and she'll show me these accounts that she follows that just do AI covers of songs,
Yeah.
and they'll do literally anything at this point, and it almost fools me half the time. That's how good it's getting, and it's something that I've really been thinking about. That at some point in the next 5 years, on the rate, and it's happening now, and I'll tell you in a minute, but there's gonna be songs on the radio that are purely AI generated, and you will not know the difference, and that scares me.
Hang on, let me try finding it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it, but hang on, give me a second.
Well, why you look that up? This is why I bring that up. Have you heard the new Beatles song?
Oh, what's it called? I have, I think. I can't remember what the name of it is though.
And the reason I bring that up is because if I remember the article I read, John's voice and George Harrison's voice are both AI.
Yeah, we talked about this with Dylan, but yeah.
And I think I think the correct word I'm looking for is inappropriate, because there's no reason that just because you have the technology, you should do it, right? And that goes for things like at Star Wars, for example, Carrie Fisher, when she was in the last, was it 2 movies after she died?
Yeah.
I don't think that is right. I don't think that they should be able to do that when someone's gone.
I guess,
you're gone.
it's like disrespecting the dead. It's not, but I get where you're coming from.
Like, obviously you want to keep that personality alive, right? But to put their voice or image on screen or audio for something that they didn't write, I don't think is very appropriate for their what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for. I just don't think it's right for their stuff to be able to do that to someone who's already gone, you know.
Okay, so I found the Johnny Cash thing.
Okay, just email it to me and I'll put a little snippet in the episode.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna play it not like really close to the mic, but
okay, then just play really quick.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's like a 10-second thing, I think.
I'm not Johnny Cash.
Hey, you know what's funny? Oh. Turn that shit off.
I told you.
Shit off. That's so fucked.
See, I'm
that's
not
so
Johnny
fucked.
Cash. I'm a Barbie world. Yeah, that's crazy though.
That sucks.
But he said, "Turn that shit off."
It's because why? Who has the gall to be like, you know what? I'm gonna wake. You wake up that morning, you drink your Red Bull, and you smoke your vape.
Goddamn
and go,
gall?
I'm gonna make this today. Who the fuck wakes up and thinks that? Oh, my headset just ran across the mic. Bet that sounds great.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Cool. So what I wanted to talk about as the main part of this episode, even though we're already almost 20 minutes in, is this will be our 10th episode. Hooray!
Hooray! It's the first of hooray! It's the 1st of December. So November of 2023 is now behind us. Kiss my ass, November.
Yeah, fuck November. So the reason I bring that up is because now, technically, I mean, we missed 1 week because you were moving, but we are 2 months into this show, right?
Yeah.
And I figured 10's a nice round number where we can take a step back, you know, and we can talk about the show in general, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you, obviously, because you're the co-host, how do you feel the show is going? As in, do you like how we're running it? Would you want to change anything? Do you have any thoughts on things you'd want to do differently? What you want to bring? What do you want to take out? Stuff like that. Do you have anything as that kind of idea?
So feel free to jump in anytime, but I like the way it's going. If there is one thing I could change, is that we should have a consistent not schedule, but a consistent runtime. So maybe like how Morgan's been saying, we should. I'm okay with doing 40-minute episodes, only because that seems like a perfectly ideal time for people's commutes if they're listening to it while driving. And obviously people who
I agree that we should have a consistent time, right? It's just our I shouldn't call it a problem, but our dilemma between me and you is that once we're going, like, usually, as people are aware, if you listen to every episode, we usually start choppy, when we talk, and then we, like, at a certain point, we just pick up and we go, and we don't stop.
Yeah, we
right?
start snowballing off the idea.
Yeah, which is, I think, our dilemma. So I think starting soon, we should, before we start recording, sit down for like maybe 15, 20 minutes, figure out exactly what we want to talk about, and try to make a rough estimate of the times we want to talk about them in.
Right, and I was gonna add that into is that we just need to have. But I'm not beating ourselves up over it. This is fine, but start having just like a general idea of topics and categories we want to go over each episode, and then even on every episode, if we want to have not the same topics, but if we do one same, it's gonna sound like a frickin' radio talk show, but it doesn't have to be every episode, but maybe every other episode, for example, we could have the same segment where we talk about certain things, because obviously every week it could be something different, but it's the same, segment or topic or category.
And I understand what you're saying, because every week what we typically do, besides the first episode, and as you're probably aware, because you were there, obviously, the first episode I tried to do that.
Yeah.
But my problem is once I edited that and I listened back through it,
yeah,
I was not a fan, only because, like you're saying, it sounded like I was trying to make a radio show rather than a sit-down talk, right?
Yeah.
And my original idea for this whole show was for me and you to sit down, talk for roughly under or right around an hour of just, getting our thoughts out of the week, right?
Yeah.
And as much as I enjoy that, especially because I'm doing it right now, you're right. I think we need to start doing almost like a radio show, but we need to make it flow so it doesn't feel like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like we're talking about, let's say, the new Netflix show, and then we're like, all right, let's go to this. No, we just need to, me and you need to figure out how we can bounce off topics better, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, and an example, too, is like a lot of podcasts and talk shows, for example, they and I'm just spitballing, they'll talk about world records that are they just talk about world records that have been recently broken, stuff like that. And that doesn't have to be a topic we have to do every week or every other week, but that's just something to think about.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things, like a lot of topics.
Like we've even talked about doing talking about the news each week, or like new stuff that we see in the news each week.
Yeah, and that's something that we can do. But like when I did that for the first episode, I think it partly was because it was a bad week. There wasn't really anything going on in the news other than that fucking plane crash, or the jet plane crash, or whatever.
Well,
and that was a big problem, was that the news was so weak that week. Haha. That once I did that structure, I was like, fuck that. But I think I want to bring that back, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about the news. Like, yeah, we can do that when something important happens, but there's a lot of topics and interesting things that I would like to talk about with you. It's just me and you are going to have to take some time during the week that isn't the recording day and figure out, okay, would you like to talk about this with me? Would you not? Would you rather change it to something else? Stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, this is an example, but it is also something that happened. Like 2 weeks ago, there was a man down in Florida who was arrested for indecent exposure because I think it was Florida, he was riding a bicycle while masturbating.
Were you the one who told me that? Someone told me that, and I laughed
have.
my ass off.
That takes talent.
That's a Florida man story right there. See, here we go. All right, so we're gonna spit. This is the episode where we spitball ideas, right?
Yeah.
Maybe like once a month we do a Florida man recap where we take all the Florida man stories from the month and we do an episode on them.
Oh, Jesus. Now, if
Because,
we would have had this podcast about 10 years ago, we would have been
Midwest
talking
man.
about... Yeah. If we would have had this podcast 10 years ago, we would have been talking about the guy who got high off bath salts and tried eating someone's face.
God, could
In
you
Florida.
imagine? Could you imagine the view count we would have had? If we were like one of the first to record that and put that up, do you know the view count we would have had 10 years ago? Actually, was that 10 years ago?
So, it was not recent. It was a while ago.
I want to say that was like 15 years ago at this point. Isn't that crazy?
I know.
I remember that. Everyone thought that the fucking zombie apocalypse was coming true.
Yeah.
Because this one man took drugs and ate someone's face off. That's awesome. Well, it's not awesome, but
who decides to get high
story.
off of something you use to relax on a bathtub?
It's pretty popular down there.
Yeah, it sounds like a Florida thing.
Speaking of which, here we'll talk about this really quick. I'm gonna go back to the show. Speaking of drugs in the South, something that I noticed the last time I went down to Tennessee, which was last year, when we would drive by like propane distribution center, like those giant fucking propane tanks where people come and get propane and they take it home or they get it dropped off, right?
Yeah.
They're all chained up. But up here in the Midwest, they're not. Like, you can just drive by a natural gas place and it's just open, right? It's just a gravel driveway. And I asked Emily's uncle, I said, do you know why these are all chained up compared to back home? And he said, yeah, it's because the rednecks will come in at night and they'll take it and they'll make meth with it.
Oh, nice.
I was like, what the fuck?
That's
you
what's
can't
up.
just go to your local gas station and buy a 20-pound tank? You gotta steal from the source?
You can't go to your local gas station and steal meth?
Why can't you just rob someone blind for meth? Why do you gotta go to the natural gas station?
Jesus.
It was just something I found really weird about the South that's different from up here. But anyways, back to the podcast.
Yeah.
So we got our time frame down we want to do, and like I said, just so you know for sure, I think we have to set a day in advance in the week. Like if we record Thursday or Friday, like we usually have been doing, maybe on like Tuesday or a Wednesday, we sit down for like 30 minutes either on Discord or the PlayStation Party, and we just go over some topics that we both enjoy. Like we both spitball on a board. Maybe I should buy like a whiteboard and put it in here.
Yeah.
And you tell me some stuff, and I'll say some stuff, and I'll write it down, and then we'll go over and be like, okay, what about this one? And then we'll both either yay or nay it, you know, and then put it in a different list. Because like I would love to dedicate episodes on like Waco, alien sightings, the gas shortage in the 70s, shit like that. I think that'd be really fun.
Well,
to
a common
talk
thing
about.
a common thing I hear on a lot of podcasts now is they're like, "Are aliens real?" They'll ask some celebrity or comedian or someone who's sitting down with them. They're like, "Do you think aliens are real?" And it's like, in my opinion, stands same thing with like paranormal. It's like I don't necessarily believe in no, I'm not sure if I could call it aliens, but I do think there's something out there. Like. I mean, I don't know how many planets there are that don't only exist in our galaxy, but another galaxy, there's definitely something else. You can't tell me we
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
That's something that, like, an episode that we can dedicate to debating back and forth about, right? Because I can tell you right now, just by you saying that, I have a very different opinion than you, right? So we could take an episode, like a 40-minute chunk, and just talk about news articles about alien abductions, the recent government shit that's been going on with Congress about alien abductions and alien shit, and then we can discuss on how we feel about, the situation.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a lot better, not only for us to flow on each other, because I think that's a big problem that I've noticed too. Not dissing you, because we're kind of the same person when it comes to stuff like this, but it's a thing that I've noticed when I edit is I'll talk about a topic, and then instead of bouncing off me naturally, you just go, "Yep," and I'm like, "Okay, we're on to the next thing," Or you will talk, and then you'll keep going, and then I'll try to come in, and you're like, no, I'm not done yet, and you'll keep going, and that's not a bad thing, because I do it too, right? And that's good, because we want to keep the show alive, and
like I
know,
said,
not
when we
awkward
get
silence.
the snowball rolling down that hill, it just keeps going, and then eventually, I'll be like, okay, we do need to switch topics, because after we talk about it for about a half hour, we're starting to run bone dry.
Mm-hmm. So we just need to teach each other how to bounce off and segue better.
Yeah.
I think that's just one of our biggest things we need to get over. And I think that, like, even in this episode, besides the start, when I was kind of choppy, because that's how we usually are, like I said, I think so far we've done a pretty good job of that, right?
No,
and that was just us talking. That's not us actually sitting down and being like, okay, let's do this or this or this.
Yeah.
So, stuff like that. Is there anything that you don't like currently about the show? Because, and I say that because so far we've talked about things that we would like to change, or stuff that we have that we could alter that's already here and we want to keep here. Is there anything that you're like, we need to stop doing this, or something, in general like that?
One thing I just thought of is we should come up with better titles for the podcast episode names, which that'll come naturally with, obviously implementing the new changes and topics we want to talk about per episode.
Mm-hmm. And you're exactly right. It's because what happens is we record on Thursday or Friday, like I said, and then I get up Saturday morning and I edit it and I put it out by noon. That's where I like to put it as at noon on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And so what happens is when I'm editing, I'm like, fuck, I need an episode title. So I'll just pick, like, the longest thing we talk about, and I'll just
and that's
write that as the title. Yeah. And it works sometimes, but, like, on the last episode, Derek's Musical Adventure, I think that was a good title for what it was.
We have a good thing going,
like,
with alternating between Trey's this, or Derek's this, and Derek's that, Trey's that,
Yeah, and we can keep doing that when we don't have an episode where we're talking about one topic, Yeah. And I think that will flow kind of cool. But, like, for instance, I think our worst episode title is the one that I made up just on the spot the one night, which was Trey's Got Gun Fever, right? I thought at the time it was funny in my head when I edited it. But after I listened to the episode, but after I listened back, and I'd already decided on after I already decided on the title, I was like, fuck, we only talked about guns for like 5 minutes. This title makes no sense.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me upset at myself. I was like, fuck, Derek, you really didn't try on that title. So I think it'll come more naturally to us once we implement these changes and we're like, all right, we're talking about this today. Let's just title the episode this topic, and it'll work out better for us.
Right.
Anything else on your end?
Not that I can think of at the moment on the spot, no.
Okay. One thing that I would like to change. This is my turn now. Or not necessarily take away, but try to either me and you sit down for like a day. We plan a day and we just spitball at the wall or whatnot. I think what we need to do is come up with our own intro sequence. Like, me and you, we make it from scratch.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Because as much as I like our regular show kind of vibe that we put to the start, if we end up getting an audience, that's going to quickly get us a copyright strike. And I think the only reason we're not now is because our channel is so small that the algorithm isn't picking it up.
Yeah.
So
no, I've thought about that from the start as well. I just don't know what we would do necessarily, but that's, we'll figure it out. It's fine.
Well, what I think we can do, I think I have a potential solution for you.
Yeah.
I think what me and you can do, like I said, sit down one day, spitball ideas, and I bring over the MIDI pad, and we kind of try to recreate that starting, like, intro sound from regular show, but we make it our own.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or hell, we could even just say fuck that and we'll do something that fits both of our I mean, obviously we chose the regular show thing because it fits both of our vibe because we love that show, but we can between the music that we like and stuff, we can make our own thing based on those ideas.
And if we do that, we could make like a punch out, clock out sound, and then maybe like, hey, it's Derek, hey, it's Trey, and this is we both. I'm not saying it has to like crescendo or into a high thing, but like be like it's the Break Room Podcast, and we have our voices overlapping each other. And
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, we can do the punch out clock again to end the. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Cool. So, with that being said, I think that we've made some progress today.
Mm-hmm.
And with that also being said, if you are a listener, particularly on Spotify, because as I've said in the outros more than once at this point, I like everyone to be on Spotify because that's where most people are.
Most of our viewers come from, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you have any, and I've said this before, but if you have any comments or things you would like to see added or things that you would like to see taken away that we have not talked about in the episode so far, please feel free to either email us, because I believe our email is on the Spotify. If not, I'm going to change that and I'll put it in the description. 2, there is a poll on Spotify that I put on every episode, which is a basic question of what did you think of this episode?
Yeah.
Which it's default on every podcast, regardless of who you are. You can, that's like the baseline question it gives you to put on your show. And I've never altered it. I've always kept it because I think as how small we are and as how little episode we have, I think that is the most perfect question for us is what did you think of the episode? So when you are on Spotify and you are listening to the show, when you open your app, the question's literally right under the play button.
Yeah.
So if you have any comments, questions about the show, concerns, like I said, please feel free to say something. I promise you I will read it. Like, I'm not going to be, like, saying all this shit and then you say something and then it just never gets answered or never gets read. Like, I will definitely read every single one.
Yeah.
So don't feel like that you're not going to post anything just because you're like, well, fuck it. He's not going to read it. Why would I even say anything?
Oh,
no,
trust me,
please.
we'll read it.
Yeah, please. We will read it. So because I want to, as much as me and Trey are talking about the show right now as it stands and how we want to change it, obviously, to a certain extent, that doesn't matter because we want to know what the listeners also want to know or listen to, right? We want to be able to make a show where you can be with your friends, you know, hanging out one day and be like, hey, have you ever heard of this podcast? You know, I really like it because of this, this, and this. I think you'll like it too. I don't want it to be something where it's like, oh, I'm not going to say anything to anyone else because I think I'm the only one that's going to like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, that's the best way
and the
to
whole point of
get
a
your
podcast
show out there.
is to, like, you know, people pick up a following on podcasts because it's literally just other people who are sharing their views and opinions and talking about certain subjects, and those people who are listening like the podcast because it's either A, they like and agree or disagree with what you're talking about, and you know, that's that. I feel like that's what picks up most podcasts. You know, obviously it's the same thing with like content creators on YouTube. You know, it's people who share what they do or how they view things and their opinions, and that's what gains an audience.
Yeah,
you find people who think the same way as you, essentially.
Yeah,
or don't.
And another big thing about that in particular is your personality, right? You know, some people have the content creator personality, and some people don't. You know, it's just how it is in life, right? And with that being said, I'm not going to change my fucking personality for you, and I know Trey won't either because he's a stubborn motherfucker like I am, but
Yeah, I'm stubborn, like a donkey.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, please feel free to share it with people that you think will vibe with our personality, right? Like that's the biggest thing at the end of the day is I want people to listen who not only understand our quirkiness and our awkwardness. I would definitely call us awkward to people who don't know us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people like that definitely should be exposed to us, not just your regular average Joe on the street. Like, we're not gonna be the fucking David Dobrik of like, whoa, I have 38 million views per video because I can be relative to every single young person in America. No, we're not like that. We're definitely a acquired taste, like an olive.
I like olives.
So, yeah. I hate them fucking things, and that's why they're a required taste to me. So I think that's why. I think that's what we're like. So don't just show it to every fucking friend you have. Be like, oh, this guy can vibe with this, so I'm gonna tell him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the. I'm gonna call that as the show complete. You know, we did a good job. Hey, everyone clap. Hooray.
Hey. Hooray.
Oh, come on. Give me some more energy. Give me some raw energy. Trey.
Yeah, let's go!
Yeah, what's up, YouTube and Spotify? Yeah, that's that energy, baby.
All right. So hopefully you guys look forward to the new changes coming. Either within the coming weeks or around the new year.
Yeah, I'll definitely say those changes probably won't take effect until I get the new computer, just so I have everything back to normal.
Right.
Because I'm definitely working on bare bones here with this touchpad and keyboard. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is, Trey, I don't think people like when we talk about video games. Really quick before we end the episode.
They
sure,
probably get their video game news from somewhere else. Literally anywhere else.
Or just the people who listen to our show don't like video games, which I understand completely. You know, it's not for everyone. Even though it's like one of the most
you don't like video games? Well,
hobbies
fuck
in the
you.
world.
No,
Yeah, fuck you if you don't like video games. No, I don't actually believe that. But I will say,
oh, you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
Probably after next week, because next week will be your video game awards results already, and we'll go over your answers and I'll get you paid out. But after that, unless it's a really, really big topic that's more than just the game itself,
It's also when Avatar Frontiers comes out. We'll see how that goes.
Nope, we're never talking about Avatar because I can't stand it.
It's just Blue Monkey Far Cry.
Yep. Yes, it is. So after the Game Awards episode, I'm gonna say from that point on, we probably won't talk about video games.
Okay.
Unless it's a story like the Activision deal where people were getting arrested in the office because they were stealing breast milk and shit.
Drinking titty milk from the fridge and then, casually walking up to the office slut and being like, hey, what are you doing after work today?
Yeah. Unless it's a story like that in a video game culture, we probably won't talk about video games anymore. So if you're happy about that, say yay in the comments. So yeah.
You're like this. Yay!
Yeah, say it just like that. So thank you for listening to the Break Room Podcast, episode 10, baby. We made it 2 months, Trey. This is our first project that me and you have done together that's lasted more than a week. So give yourself a pat on the back, bud. We did it. We did it.
I patted myself on the back.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear it. So, so yeah. Thank you for listening. We really do appreciate it. Even though Trey never says that he does, I know he does.
What?
Say right now, Trey.
I appreciate you for listening to the Break Room Podcast.
See now what I just said was false. So I can't say that anymore. Trey does appreciate you. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you.
And follow us on Spotify if you want to feel supportive. Subscribe on YouTube, even though, like I've said multiple times, Spotify is where I want you. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you guys next Saturday Goodbye.
Goodbye.